Regina, all that, all that.
Yeah, man. I couldn't find an '89 Batman, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go ahead and buy the whole Batmobile just to
Oh,
get the
dang.
'89 Batman. You can't even see it, can you?
I
Yeah, I
know
had
he
to buy the whole joint.
disappeared.
Kind of blurry
Yeah,
just a tad
I
bit.
had to I had to get the whole joint. I'm trying to see me to see it.
I can see pieces of it. Oh, is the
Yeah,
Batman figure in it?
yeah,
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
yeah. I had to get
dopeness,
that just to get him.
dopeness incarnate.
Yeah, I couldn't find him anywhere, man.
Awesome,
I think that
awesome.
was a good investment though. That's actually pretty sweet. The
Yeah,
whole vehicle.
yeah,
Oh
yeah. They're
yeah,
about
oh
to
yeah.
come out with the Forever vehicle too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Which
but not the suit though, right?
no, that well, he's gonna. I already got. I ordered I ordered Batman Forever the figure
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
you can't get the whole movie set anymore. That's over.
My
I
bad.
believe
Was
it.
that a
Yeah.
dig at me? I think that was a dig at me.
No, no, not at all. You just can't find it anymore. And I've been looking for it. They want $200 for it. So I went ahead and
Whew.
got him. I got Clooney from you, and I just got the new Adam West that's about to come out. I just
Okay,
Oh,
pre-ordered him
nice.
too.
man, I felt bad about that. By the time I got back to the store, that thing was gone. I was like,
And,
dang.
it actually worked out because I kind of like the idea of having them separate
Gotcha.
more than having them in that case. So it
Nice,
worked.
nice. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Jay with Trey and Doc coming to you live from Retcon Comics. Here to break you off with that podcast, give y'all your fix for comic book culture. Now, listen, of course, as always, if you haven't, go ahead and please hit the like button, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell to make sure you're not missing any single bit of content. And for those who are already subscribed and plugged in, we thank you so much. You could have been anywhere else in the multiverse, but you are here with us and we appreciate it. So jumping off in the gate, we're going to go ahead and do our top five, but we're going to switch it up a little bit. We got two top five categories, and it's not just going to be my top five. We got Doc's top five and Trey's top five. And we're going to compare notes. We're going to see what we agree on, what we disagree on. And of course, as always, when you hear the top five, if you have a different list, make sure you go ahead and put that in the comment section. Let us know what you think. So obviously, we're going to go ahead and title this episode Maximum Recon Effort. It is definitely inspired from the latest Marvel MCU movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. It's a tagline that Deadpool loves to say, and I believe it's also a company ran by, or I think ran by Ryan Reynolds as well. And the top five, jumping it off right now, is Wolverine versus. So this is all about the man, the best there is at what he does, and what he does ain't nice. Going up against so many people in the MCU, it was really hard to patent it down, but but I was able to pinpoint it to a couple that really stood out for me. So if you agree, disagree, it's all good. Let's get into it. So my top five, starting at five, is Wolverine versus Gorgon. Now, for those that don't know, Gorgon is a mutant himself with the ability to, from my understanding, being able to read his opponents before they can attack. Definitely keep me honest if I'm wrong on that, Doc. Uh, the most that I've known about Gorgon as far as his highlight in his battles with Wolverine was when there was a story arc in Wolverine called Enemy of the State, where he was brainwashed and, uh, Hydra, the Hand, they were all working together. This was a collaborative effort trying to get Wolverine to take out a lot of the superhero community. And then Gorgon, he was the one who jump started all of this. Their battle is pretty epic in the comic book pages, but it's not as high as everyone else, which you'll find out. But I have him at number five, Wolverine versus Gorgon. Number four, Wolverine versus Omega Red. Now, some of you probably already know about Omega Red from the animated X-Men series back in the 90s. Dude, he's a mutant as well. Got tendrils that come out of his palms, not necessarily his palms, but his arms a little bit.
His wrist.
Thank you. Wrists, and they can drain energy once they wrap around you. He has a metal called carbondanium.
Yeah, carbon. And
Thank
so
you.
he's like the antithesis to Wolverine. So he has like a death factor.
Yes, there we go.
Right.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. I love their battles. What really stood out for me, not just his first appearance, which was in X-Men 4, I believe it was the cameo, and then X-Men 5 was the full appearance. And of course, Jim Lee's artwork on that, it just pops right out of the pictures. There was an anime Wolverine show, an animated anime Wolverine show, where you could see them battle. And I just love when they take these characters and put them in anime motion, if you will. And it really was aesthetic to see them go one-on-one with each other. And then that's why he's number 4. But of course, number 3 for me is Wolverine versus Sabretooth. I know somebody's thinking like, but Sabretooth that's his arch nemesis. That's his number 1. Who could be above that? But just hear me out. All Sabretooth, right. Wolverine, they go neck and neck every time. Sabretooth makes it personal. You know, he always tries to kill somebody or do something vicious on Wolverine's birthday. You know, at one point, Sabretooth actually had adamantium in his body, and this was at a time where Wolverine lost his adamantium. So Sabretooth finally had to one-up. One of their greatest battles, of course, it was in X-Men 212 and Uncanny X-Men 212 to 213. I believe that was when we were able to see them first go at it with each other. I believe the Mr. Sinister was involved and the Marauders. Definitely let me know if I'm venturing off, Doc, if that's not hitting the ballpark. But I know that artwork was pretty beautiful, the way they just went at it with each other. And of course, there was Wolverine issues 50 through 54, where Wolverine, so quote unquote, decapitated Sabretooth with a Muramasa blade. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm probably butchering that. But it's a blade that is made of a material metal that can actually cut through adamantium, from my understanding, but it also can affect the healing factor. And, so Wolverine thinking that he ended Sabretooth. Wrong. He was a clone. And then recently there was in the latest Wolverine issue, before it got relaunched, the Wolverine series, there was a Sabretooth war. And man, from my understanding, that thing was epic. So that's why Sabretooth and Wolverine is number 3 for me. Number 2 is Wolverine versus Deadpool. No surprise there. When they go at it, You got 2 guys with 2 healing factors. But it's the banter for me. It's Deadpool's banter for me. His devil may care attitude, just getting on Wolverine's nerves. And, you got adamantium claws and his katana blades going toe to toe, and Deadpool loving to break the fourth wall, or third was fourth wall. Like, I'm forgetting how to count there. Right. On the fifth. On the 5th floor. Oh man, the first time they fought each other, Wolverine versus Deadpool, the first time they fought was in Wolverine issue 88. Another great hit was Wolverine Origins, which involved Wolverine's son Daken. And I do believe that there is a new series, Wolverine Deadpool World War 3 or something.
Yeah, World War 3.
Thank you. Yep. And if you haven't got any of those issues, and if Doc has some left in stock,
I still have some. It went to second printing, but I still got it.
Nice. Make sure you go get that. And then with number 1, like, to me, it can't be nobody else but Wolverine versus Hulk. I mean, come on. Wolverine first appeared in the Incredible Hulk issue 181. And then that cemented Wolverine going forward. They've had some epic battles. Some of the top battles that I love between them, Wolverine issue 145, where he was in the midst of, we were getting the background story of how Wolverine was becoming the Horseman of Apocalypse. He first, interestingly enough, had to fight Sabretooth for the honor. And then he was sent to take out Hulk, because the Hulk at one point, he was, believe it or not, a Horseman of Apocalypse at some point, but then he turned away from that role. So it was kind of like Apocalypse being petty, like, he turned me down. Nobody turns me down. Take care of that. And that's when we saw Wolverine back with his adamantium. But the battle was so epic. And of course, Old Man Logan, giant size, where we see a hillbilly-ish Hulk go up against Old Man Logan, and talking very disgustingly about how he smashed his cousin.
He gave Jennifer the business because she was the only one that can handle it. His work, not mine.
I can never wash that out of my mind. That's like when they wrote Norman Osborn smashing Gwen Stacy, and she had twins. I'm like, wow. But that's my top 5. So what do you guys think? What you got? Please share your top 5 as well.
All right, mine is different. Mine is different. You want to go, Trey? Or you want me to go last?
Nah, I'll be honest with you. I'll defer to you guys with the comic book stuff. Mine is.
All right, so I'm more of a classic person, and so what I'm gonna go with is, I'm gonna start off with Cyber, because
Mm.
Cyber actually used to give him the business. It was during that time period where he didn't have his adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
He just in Cyber, if you don't know, that dude has like adamantium skin, and these little nail claws. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine now has bone claws, and he had his healing factor, but he was still recovering from what Magneto did to him, foreshadowing that's coming up later.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was sweet justice where when we finally get Wolverine to get his adamantium back, he actually got it as a result of Cyber. And I believe somebody, I forget who it was who caught him and ultimately released this biologic, it was almost like a biologic um what is the word I'm looking for? Well, it was an organism that
Mm-hmm.
ultimately ate flesh and
Mm.
nothing but flesh.
Mm.
So he was like, I don't know why you coming at me with this, I'm invincible, but it essentially ate all organics away from him and left nothing but the adamantium skin and like skeleton.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so that was crazy. But ultimately, he be my five.
All right.
Um,
All right.
so then I will move on to
All
somebody
right.
like Lady Deathstrike, who
Hmm.
give
That's interesting.
Wolverine
Hmm.
fits, like especially when she was teaming up with like the Reavers and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
she was fierce.
Okay.
It seems like no matter what, she was always coming back and coming back at him and just giving him, a run for his money.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Lady Deathstrike is there and should, be on that list.
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
from a three standpoint, Silver Samurai. That was
Silver
something.
Samurai.
Yeah, that went
Hmm.
back. I mean, they even did what the second Logan that was
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
based off of him.
yeah.
I think he in himself is like a classic, um, you know, foe for Wolverine, especially during that time period where he was over in Asia, and living his life during that time period. So, I look at Logan as periods, time
Yeah, yeah,
periods.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And a
yeah.
lot of these things, end up being okay, significant because this was his greatest nemesis at this time.
So
Um,
before you, so did you like his representation in the Wolverine, Silver Samurai?
Actually, it was okay. I mean, obviously it deviated from the story, but it
Mm-hmm.
was good to see him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the movies I definitely liked that second one. I couldn't stand that first movie. Like
First
it
one
was
was terrible.
trash.
Yeah,
Um,
Mm. You talking about X-Men
so
Origins Wolverine?
yeah,
terrible.
Okay, gotcha.
terrible, horrible on multiple levels.
I rewatched that actually. Not by force. It was just something to put something on for family member to watch.
So yeah, of the Wolverine movies, I actually enjoyed that one probably the most, because once again, it touched on that time period, and
Hmm.
for the most part, I think they held to the character,
Okay.
and the his foe. So,
Mm. Okay.
that movie. It was cool. But I'm sorry, number two is gonna be like it's gonna be hard for me because I think he
Mhm.
should be one, but obviously I'm gonna explain why my
Okay.
one. So Sabretooth is gonna be on my two because he is
Mm.
just the classic nemesis of Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
and he's always there. They're always going back at each other, trying to one up each other, trying to put each other down. He plays mind games with him when Wolverine didn't even know
Oh
he
yeah.
was. Remember, he was trying to make it seem like he was his father. like, like over the years, he's killed, like you said, people significant in his life. I think he's probably done the most emotional harm to
Yeah.
Logan, as
Yeah.
well as you know, a physical harm as well. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously they heal back from that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he should be one, but I'm gonna put Magneto because
Magneto.
Magneto ripped his freaking adamantium from when that happened, Josh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
That was significant. That blew
It was.
everybody away. But here's the other part. To that point, everybody thought Wolverine's claws were put into him. They didn't realize that those were his bones, and that was a bony structure thing. And then when he finally popped those things again, and it went from sneaked to shucked because
Yeah.
that ripping through his hand, and it was those bone claws.
Yeah.
So that was a significant time period. I mean, I know you talk about intro when it was his first appearance, but honestly, you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel that was a one-off. Like, yeah, they showed him he popped up in Hulk, but I don't know if you remember World War Hulk, and he told him how this
Yeah.
was gonna go down, and he basically, you know,
Yeah.
tried. So
That's
yeah,
all right.
I'm sorry. I gotta say, you know, Magneto, even though I love Mags, at that time, he was like, I'm tired of this. And he put a hurt no Wolverine took forever to
It
recover
did
from
take him a
it. Because
while.
you
Yeah.
remember they found out that his allegedly his healing factor was usually in hyperdrive. And
Right,
so
right, right.
he tried to do the whole Pharaoh thing and he lost
I
his
remember
and he got,
almost
you
off
know,
his
even
nose.
more berserker because
I
they were
remember
Yeah.
like,
that
his
too.
healing factor doesn't know what to do because him actually constantly trying to battle that rejecting the adamantium, kind
Right,
of,
right, right.
even though his healing factor was still epic, it tailored you know, it kind of notched it down
Tamed him a little bit.
significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had that, you had the claws, you know, that was actually the introduction to Cyber because now you got this new character coming after him and he can't really even fight him, you know.
Mhm.
He's like, you know, trying to scrape at him with these bone claws and they're like breaking like all the time.
Mhm.
And so, and the first time when that happened, that dude stepped on his hand and broke his claws, and we were like, okay, he doesn't have claws anymore. But then we saw he can heal from that as well. So,
Mhm.
you know, I that's why Magneto went down as my number one on.
Wow. I
That's
wouldn't have
interesting.
suspected. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
suspected.
Me
I
neither.
guess because
Me
I
neither.
didn't choose him because I thought about like who personally goes at it with Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
And I guess Magneto didn't register because I think about Magneto and Professor X always, you know. I think like, you know, I love that, of course, you know, we got to see that representation of Magneto ripping out the adamantium from X-Men 97. Like
Yeah.
that was awesome. That was
Right.
awesome. That was awesome. But yeah,
That
I
was a
wouldn't have
nice
registered.
nod to something that was like comic accurate. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
Very, very
Right.
much so.
And I
Very
was
much so.
shocked
I
that
hope they keep that going.
I was shocked that they went there.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Like on a Disney show, they went
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought that,
yeah.
yeah, that was wild. That was
Yeah.
wild.
All right,
Yeah.
well, Trey, we got to see what you got, man. Doc only got one out of mine that we got together. His was higher with Sabretooth, but that was pretty cool. What you got, Trey?
So really, like, you know, obviously my comic knowledge is limited, right? And so when you sent me the top five, I kind of looked at some of these and I looked into some of the fights, and I really didn't see a place to argue with four and five.
Okay.
The only thing is I would actually put Wolverine versus Sabretooth first.
Got no
Mm,
problems with that.
And the
mm,
reason I would put Wolverine and Sabretooth first is really because I'm not as comic knowledgeable. And I know about Wolverine and Sabretooth. It's been represented in
Yeah.
yeah,
every form of media as
yeah,
like
yeah.
the rivalry that Wolverine has that span, you know, generations
Mm-hmm.
and decades and hundreds of years and all of this stuff
Yeah, yeah.
where, you know, these two are always fighting. My number two would
Mm-hmm.
have been the Wolverine versus Hulk. Um, I wasn't aware of too many instances where that happened. Like I knew they fought each other and I've seen like, you know, everybody's seen the classic drawing of Wolverine with his claws out and you can see Hulk's face in the claws and
Yes, Todd McFarlane
right,
cover.
and that's a cool thing. And from a pop culture standpoint, I was aware of that, and obviously I was aware that they fought each other early on, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see many instances of them going back and forth. So I really struggle with: are we looking for his top five foes or his top five fights?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right, and
yeah,
so going back and forth with that, like I said, I didn't see much to argue about. And obviously, right now, Wolverine and Deadpool are like they've bombarded the lexicon at this point, right?
yeah.
Everybody is aware of it at this point, at
Yes,
least as it's
yes,
represented on the big screen. And so I
yes.
couldn't argue with that. I think most people, because of recency bias, would
Mm-hmm.
look at that and see that. Although they do have a history with each other. We do
Mm-hmm.
know how much Deadpool annoys Wolverine, and that's
Oh,
really a
yeah,
basis of their relationship. But
yeah.
yeah, I didn't see much there that I disagree with, but I definitely would put Wolverine versus Sabretooth first, for sure.
Right. Right. And I think you made a great point. If you were just to like poll people, most, you know, just cursory fans, they're
Mhm.
gonna know about Wolverine and
Right.
Sabretooth. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Not
Right.
everybody's gonna know, other than the Disney Plus thing, what Magneto did to him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Not many
Right.
people know about Cyber. Um,
Mhm.
or even like other than the movies, they don't know about Cyber. They don't know about Lady Deathstrike.
Don't know about
Yeah.
Gorgon, Omega
And I mean, you
Red.
saw in the movie, but did she even speak the first one?
Nah,
I
she
don't
didn't say
think she
nothing. I don't
did.
think
She didn't say
nothing.
anything. But she
And
was
so
giving Wolverine the business
business,
though.
and once
All day.
again,
The
so
All day.
yeah,
business. Yeah, but
All day.
yeah.
But that
Plus,
makes
man,
sense.
I think, man, I like my earliest memory of Wolverine versus Sabretooth was like the original X-Men series.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point on, every representation of the X-Men, Wolverine, whatever it is,
Pretty much.
Sabretooth was a guy. Like he'll smell them. Like he'll
Yeah.
know it's around because he can smell them. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. The
that's
senses of his. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
All right, well, that's not bad. That's not bad. And I think that's good that you're coming from that area where you're not too deep into the comic book knowledge, because there are a lot of people who aren't deep into the comic book knowledge. They
yeah.
just know what they see in media. So yeah, we need that outtake. But not bad, Doc. Not bad on the list. I knew we was going to differ. I knew we was going to differ. I'm really shocked that we got one together. Even if it is different number
Well,
picks.
I think Trey also touched on it. It was like, was this like fights or nemesis? Because I mean, you look at Joe Fixit and Patch. Those
Mhm.
dudes work together. For the
They
most part,
did.
these guys work together, and even Magneto. But I will say, Magneto has been a nemesis far more than he's been,
Yeah.
of late,
Mhm.
an ally. And so now that they're all teamed up, it's different. But at some point, Magneto was one of all of the X-Men biggest, foes and threats.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's
Absolutely.
hard to argue with Sabretooth being one. I just look at Saber what Magneto did to Wolverine was
It was
just
wild.
so
Yeah.
freaking nasty and like
Yeah.
dirty. Like
Yeah.
it was unspeakable at the time. You're like, dude, like that was
Yeah.
the thing that made Professor X make him like go, oh no. And he
Yeah.
made him a vegetable for a while. And
He did.
Professor didn't do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
He
it was
did.
that significant.
He
Yeah.
did. And
And
So
it
prediction is
made you
onslaught's coming.
well, you
and it
didn't think Professor did that. We find out later Professor been doing a lot of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Onslaught. Yeah.
yeah. And to
Yeah.
your
So
point, Doc, even when he did that, like Magneto would always toy with Wolverine. Like
oh yeah. He was
when
like, I'm
he
tired of this.
yeah, it was like, look, man, I'm tired of playing. Like
He
it's
Right.
a
said
wrap.
the feud
Like,
is at an
you've been
end. The
annoying
rivalry
to
is at
keep
an
such
end.
and such. Like, let me show you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.